off tonight. They're off tomorrow night. And then they'll host Orlando at the Romo Fijo. A Friday night, 7 o'clock tip here on MMS. So you will hear all that here. Mike Paramore is back in the room.
I am.
Welcome back. Mike Paramore, of course, you know him from the Alan Cox Show Comedy Tour. If you've seen him on his Mike Paramore World Tour, you've seen him. And he's doing a show tomorrow night. If you're out Toledo way, I know we have Bureau Chiefs out in Toledo. He's doing a show at the Funny Bone in Toledo tomorrow night. The single versus married. I know that this is your wheelhouse. Explain this to me. This is your production?
Yes.
Yeah.
We created this, me and my buddy Aaron. We both study psychology, and I talk about, I have my jokes about single, and he is married with like 1 million kids. So
I think he has like 2 kids.
Is this Kleiber? Like 400 kids.
Is this Aaron Kleiber?
Yes. He has
To
like
some people,
400 kids.
2 kids is 1 million kids.
No, I think he has at least 3 now.
He's a Pittsburgh comic, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah,
Very
he's
funny.
funny. Very, very funny dude. And we do our sets, and then at the end we go up on stage, we chat together, and then we do relationship advice, and we do Q&A and stuff like that after, because my set is mostly about dating and being single. His set is mostly about how to make a marriage work and marriage and kids and stuff like that. So it's kind of a pretty dope dynamic, yeah.
Because if you get a crowd that is half single people, half married people, there's a mental war going on between those 2 people, too.
Yeah.
Because you have a group of people who are like, man, this is awesome, love being single, doing my own thing, but maybe they're in a couple and there's some pressure to move that forward.
Yeah.
And then you have people who are married who might like that situation, too, but there's always that element of casting your mind back to when you were in that other group.
Yeah,
There's a bit of a grass is greener vibe between both groups.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, first of all, comedy shows are a date night. That's mostly couples. Not a lot of single people go to comedy shows unless it's like a big group of people.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting dynamic of people who show up. First dates, people been dating a long time, like you said, married. And they really, a lot of people look at the other people and they're like, oh, man, they look like they're having so much fun.
More fun than I'm having.
But we always have that. We always had it. I think we always think the grass is greener on the other side. That's one of the main points to my dating advice is one of the worst things you can do as a dater is want it. Like, you want it too bad. So if you want somebody too bad, if you're not happy being single, then you're going to settle. And you're going to ignore red flags, and it's going to cause all types of ripples effects in your situation.
But you also know, too, that there's an element of, like, those who can't do teach and all that, too, where they're like, people who are single and dispense this kind of advice. People go, why ain't you hooked up? You get that from people?
Oh, I get that. I get that all the time. And I always tell those people, it's like, finding someone and holding on to someone, that's a status. That's not an emotion. Like, people are in relationships are not happy. That just because
you mean not necessarily happy. Yeah.
No, all relationships, nobody's happy.
Just because
if you are with someone, you are not happy by definition.
You are sitting next to someone, you're tolerating someone, doesn't mean you're happy. If you want to take advice from someone, make sure that person has found happiness and education. Knowledge and happiness are the 2 things that you want from somebody giving you advice. It has nothing to do with what they found or the status of their personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's.
I understand. I have always understood, at least in my adult years, I've understood the whole you gotta love yourself before you can love somebody else. I understand that logically. I never bought into it, though, because I'm kind of like, you could spend your whole life never getting to that point by yourself. You don't want to put all your eggs in somebody else's basket. I understand that point. But also, my thought, just my opinion, because I'm not a big fan of me, but my wife's awesome, right? She's like a great person and all that stuff. So I'm like, I by myself would never get to that point. I'd be 80 if I had to wait to love myself to love somebody else. So I get what they mean, but it's also like, if you're gonna couple with someone, you got to kind of let some of that go and just say, let's see where this takes us.
Well, you got to.
I'm good enough to make this mechanism work.
Well, there's a certain amount of insecurity that comes with getting your happiness from somebody else. Like, if you are in a relationship and you don't think that you're lovable, then you're not going to believe that other person thinks you're lovable. I hate those people who can't take compliments. Oh, you're very beautiful. You're a very beautiful woman. I'm okay. I got
Mike, you are a beautiful
woman. My thighs are silicone. And you ever? By the way, have you ever
silicone cellulite?
Have you ever heard a woman complain about her body? There is nothing sexier than a chick that complains about her body. Like, she's complaining about stuff and the dude is just turned on to no end. Like,
when I have these belly rolls and pizza crust falls out that I didn't know was there.
So
like,
my thighs touch when I walk. Like, yeah, girl, don't they?
Yeah.
Back and forth.
You hold a piece of toilet paper in there, you're going to catch a fire.
Let me ask you about this.
I hate that my butt is so big. It's like,
they're calling attention to things that we didn't even notice.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Mike, let me ask you a question about. I have a friend that is very into the whole, like, the strategy of dating and like. I want him to miss me, so like she won't text him first and all that stuff. What's your thoughts on that situation?
Well,
there's a very specifically
playing the games.
A friend of mine was in a relationship with a guy for about 3 or 4 months. It started to get more serious, and then they broke things off. And then he goes, she was like confiding in me. I'm like, well, just tell him all these things you're telling me. And she's like, no, I'm gonna wait until he contacts me because I want him to miss me.
Well, that's and I don't mean this in a bad way, but that's psychological manipulation.
And that's what I told her.
There's a lot of manipulation in relationships and dating. Manipulation is not always. It has a bad rap.
Yeah,
but it's not always a bad word. I can manipulate you into thinking you're beautiful. I can manipulate you into going to the gym. I can, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's not always a bad thing. And if that's the mindset she has to have, not to be clingy or not to be too much, then okay. But it is generally not a good idea.
Right.
Because you're putting forth a representative and you're not putting forth your true self. So even if what you're doing works to get that person, it's not sustainable because that's not
that's not who you really are.
That's not who you
are.
Okay.
So we're on the same page because that's basically what I told her because she was trying to play this game, and I'm like, don't play the game, be the person that you are, and just let him see that.
If you're crazy, then be crazy, and if you don't want to be crazy, then try not to be crazy. Don't.
But this is her idea. This is her idea of not being crazy.
But don't hide. No, that's her hiding her crazy.
Right. Exactly.
She wants to do it.
She thinks she's not.
Right. That's hiding her. That's her putting forth her representative.
Yep.
And not her.
I like that.
Person.
I like the representative term. That's a great term for it.
Representative. Yeah, that's a terrible idea because, like I said, it's not sustainable.
Even
if you get the person, it's not gonna last.
Yeah.
It's because that's not they've fallen in love or they want to date somebody that doesn't exist.
Right. And
they'll figure that out probably before you ever get a chance to tell them. They'll see little cracks in whatever, and they'll go, "Wait a second, that is not." I thought this was.
I think most things that we put across can be interpreted by another person, whether it's insecurity, whether we want it too much, whether we are inside of our heads about everything. Like, that stuff, people can see that. Like, that's a pretty obvious thing.
That's why a lot of people race to marriage because they're like, they have that mindset of, the race is over. I can just not worry about any of those things anymore. But there's a whole different set of circumstances.
Well, there's a lot more work to be done once you're in that phase.
Right.
Well, no, I think people would much rather be unhappy than be alone. They would
I think you're absolutely right.
They would much rather be unhappy than be single, which boggles my mind. Like, it literally, I have zero idea how that's possible.
I'm with you on that because I was probably one of those people for a while that was afraid of being alone, and now that I've come to terms with being alone, I love it. I love it.
Well, learning how to enjoy being alone is a totally different thing too.
Yeah.
It's like learning what you like, and we were just kind of talking about this earlier in the show, where it's like things that you like to do or hobbies that you have or being totally comfortable with yourself, like you said, Alan, and then being able to love somebody else. I think it's more or less like not projecting, like you said, projecting your insecurities onto a relationship where it's like, well, why aren't you telling me I'm beautiful? Or why aren't, you know what I mean? It's like, well, I know I'm cute. I don't need you to tell me that, it's a different type of thing.
I think one of the big
I don't
ones
need
is
you to tell me that.
Right.
People try to pretend to be open-minded in relationships. They try to be okay with things that they're not okay with.
Yeah.
And I think you should just be an open-minded person and not pretend to be one. Like for me, I'm very pliable. I'm very, I'm stubborn on like 4 things in my whole entire life. Everything else is very fluid. Like,
what are the 4 things on which you're stubborn?
I am very stubborn about
Tacos only on
my
Tuesday.
mother.
Oh.
I am very stubborn about.
What do you mean stubborn about your mother?
I'm stubborn. I'm a mama's boy.
Oh, I understood. Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
a
I got
mama's
you.
boy.
So like protecting her honor. And all
I'm
that
very
stuff,
stubborn about communication.
Yeah.
I cannot tolerate like
like those
The
games.
stuff that
a
they're
lack
talking
of
about.
communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like hiding things. Like it's just it's
Like
just,
having a problem but not saying you're fine, that kind of thing.
And I prefer open-minded people. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, like people leave marks on me when they leave. That's how open-minded I am. Like the last girl that I dated, I now, because of her, only use olive oil mayo.
He's not even talking about anything existential. Just olive oil
Right,
mayo.
yeah.
Like I only use olive oil mayo now. Like and before
Because she turned
that,
you onto it and you said that's a great
this
idea.
stuff is ridiculous. Right.
Yeah.
This stuff ridiculous. I'm open to it, and now I can't buy anything else. The girl before that I dated, I now end all of my poops with a moist wipe.
Bro, you got to get a.
But don't flush it.
Yeah. No, you have to. It's flushable, right?
It says flushable.
He says
but
right?
yeah.
Question mark.
A plumber will
'Cause
tell
I
you
don't
not
wanna, I don't
to.
want to like find out later that I've been, murdering
I don't think you're supposed to.
organic.
Some of
Yeah,
them
they're
are
bad.
flushable.
Yeah, they say flushable, but they're not good to flush.
No.
That's why the bidet is the way to go.
That's not cleaning. That's just spraying.
Oh, it's.
I'm
clean.
with
That's
you. Like,
spreading.
I get everybody is on board with the bidet. I've used them overseas,
They're great.
but it just moves stuff around.
It's
No,
not-
it
I
cleans.
don't
It
understand.
sprays it
Wet.
off.
That's not.
Okay,
no,
here's
it
my
sprays
question,
it
and again,
off.
I don't want to get
Man.
into the I
How
almost said
powerful
duvet.
is this spray?
The bidet thing.
powerful.
It's like a jet engine on
Are
your,
you still a
on your
virgin
pucker
when you
hole.
get up?
But here's my question.
Doesn't
since-
matter.
about the
Clean.
bidet thing. You get it sprayed, okay? And you say, oh, it sprays it clean. But all that stuff goes where?
It falls down
Back
into the
into the
toilet.
toilet.
Yes, it does.
Onto
if
your
you-
legs.
Study hydrodynamics, okay? Bernoulli's principle, okay? If you're spraying water on a surface, on a flat surface, or even one that's a little bit curved,
Falls
like,
down into the toilet.
yes,
'Cause you wipe-
No,
you-
gravity will take the water into the toilet, but I'm
And the
saying it would
poo.
disperse those particles sideways, every which way, wouldn't
I
it?
would think you were doubling your workload, right? Because now that you've spread everything, now your whole booty's wet.
That's
Yeah.
That's
what
what
I'm
I
saying.
thought. I've never really.
you
I don't think I've ever used one.
It's very precise.
You have a
get
laser
it-
focused bidet
Yeah,
stream?
you get it right on the spot, and then you dry it off. It's really wonderful.
Your booty has a spot.
I mean, those
Where
are
the poop
yours.
sticks.
Yeah.
It's the poop spot.
You have a bidet setting.
Well, I just know where
He's got a jet engine.
you aim. I mean, it's an aiming thing.
I don't.
Can
wanna aim
you?
with my
Does it have a
booty.
stick that you can aim like you're in like a caterpillar
No, like
backhoe or
there's
something?
different ones, but
Is it
there's
like
ones
a
that like it
video
like comes
game
out,
where
and
you
so
use a
like you turn it
joystick?
on, you get a little bit of a stream going, so that you know where you then you get a, but like you get used to it, and you just sit in the right spot every time, and you just turn it on, and it hits you right there. That's good.
Over under 10 minutes of him sitting on the toilet trying to find the right spot. What do you got?
I think under. I
It's
think he's
way
got
under.
it down.
I'm,
yeah.
Boom, I'm in and out.
He
Not in the
has-
first time.
I took a dump today. Well, these two girls were at my house. Her and Gab were at my house, and you guys probably didn't even know because it was so fast.
Good for you.
Yeah, see?
That's
I don't know if
uncomfortable.
that's a skill to have.
You and Gab were at Bill's
uncomfortable.
house today.
Yeah, we were hanging out having coffee.
Talking about burying the lead.
Hanging out having
She's
coffee.
laying down around televisions,
So
and
there's little.
he's spraying his ass in the bathroom.
I had to
also-
go.
That's that was probably the most erotic thing that happened at Bill's apartment was him using his own bidet.
Go to my story on Instagram. If there's a little joke about hanging out with these two lovely young ladies.
I also now do manicures and pedicures now.
Gotta get a pedicure.
Wait, you perform them?
No, what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well,
That's his
you-
merch.
it
You come get a
sounded-
pedicure.
You're just now
Listen,
getting into that,
you would kill
I
it.
am just now.
dude.
getting
I
into
just
that.
had one. I got a pedicure this weekend. I was
just
overdue.
now-
It is worth every penny.
I'm just now getting into that.
I don't
man.
care. Dudes talk about their man card, whatever. Man, you gotta to
Well,
sit there
girls
and they
seem to
scrub your
appreciate-
feet. It is dynamite.
Girls seem to appreciate a man who takes care of themselves, and I didn't notice. Like I don't even get manicures and pedicures for the feeling. I get it so I can like take pictures of me getting it, and then like
Oh, I see.
And show
get it for
that.
the
and
gram.
girls like, oh, he takes care of himself.
So you don't do
But
it
it
because
feels
you
good.
like
When do you get?
it.
Wait till you get that picture
So wait a minute.
of
2
you
seconds
getting
ago,
a bidet.
Hold on. 2 seconds ago, you were saying, don't lead, don't do, if you're crazy, don't hide you're crazy. You don't actually like these manicures and pedicures. You just want girls to think that you
I
like
don't-
them.
No
think
one
You're being
does.
contradictory.
No
It's
one
super-
doesn't
it's-
like these things.
He's
No,
being
no.
contradictory.
Because I'm not doing it against it's not against who I am. I just have the reason that I'm doing it is not for me.
He's a work in
But it's
progress,
not against
Mary.
who I am.
Okay.
Like it's not gonna change later. Like I'm not going, oh, I got me a chick, let me stop getting pedicures. It's just weird.
Let me ask you this: do you request that they scrub your legs in olive oil mayo when you get the pedicure done?
I bring my own mayo.
It's delightful.
I do not trust the salon to have my mayo.
They're not gonna. They might have the same packaging, but it's
But I
different
feel
mayo.
like that. But it's honestly that's a weird thing to look down and have a small. You know, I want to be. You know, racist,
small Asian
but
woman.
It's
No, it is.
usually
Yeah.
a tiny Asian woman,
Mhm.
and she's just working. And she's working.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has a scowl on her face. She's very serious.
She's touching feet all
She
day
has
long.
your feet in her hands with like I have to figure this out look on her face. Like my feet are now a problem. Like like it's now something she needs to figure out.
Yeah.
And I don't like that's an uncomfortable feeling. Then she goes and she gets the little cheese grater thing and she like it looks
That's the
at my
best
feet.
part.
I need that thing.
She's like looking at my feet while sharpening the cheese grater thing, like to know how much she needs to sharpen this thing. Like it's
They
it's
don't sharpen
uncomfortable.
it. You're making it sound like she's like putting it against what a granite. Is that what that
She's-
circle thing? Like that's not what it is.
It's something out of like medieval weapon thing. Like it's very uncomfortable situation.
That's dynamite, though, to sit there and have that done. It's
And
just
she
the
asks me
best.
questions in what I can only assume is English, and,
You want polish?
and I have no idea. So I just nod and agree with everything.
So you get a deluxe pedicure every
I have
time.
no idea what I get.
Salt scrubs
But
and mud
I will
masks
say,
and
I will say that
hot
the last
towels.
time I got one, she put my hands in bags.
Yeah.
with
and-
the paraffin wax.
And I don't know, it was not okay.
The old double
Was it the
bagger.
wax?
It looked
That
like
hot pink wax?
it was purple. Mine
Purple,
was
but yeah.
Yes.
So it's called a paraffin treatment, and it's supposed to take away the dead skin cells when they peel the wax off of you. That's exactly what it
That
is. It's
sounds
a paraffin
gross.
treatment. I've never had it on my hands. I've had it on my feet before.
That sounds super
But, yeah.
gross.
It's like yeah, that's what it is. They put the wax, and then the wax dries, and then they peel the wax off. It's like left really smooth skin.
I just
Oh,
can't
that's-
believe. I mean, when you
that's
walk into
gross.
these places, the chemical smell from like the manicures and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe that these women aren't dropping dead at 25.
Well, they
sucking
all
that
wear
stuff
masks.
in. I know, but that stuff has still got to permeate the mass to some degree.
Yeah.
It's
and
crazy.
being there 40 hours a week.
Oh God. Yeah.
No, it's very uncomfortable. That's why I
But you
always
look
go-
fantastic.
I don't want a new Asian lady. So I always go to my same
The same Asian lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get a regular lady because then she doesn't ask that
I don't
many
wanna, I want to
questions.
spring my football feet on a new person.
Football feet.
Yeah. I played football for most of my life.
So what? They're all gnarly.
I mean, they're not gnarly, but they're just like they're rough.
Yeah.
Like they've sustained.
I got a patch on my left foot that is, I think it's because that's more where I lean when I'm doing stand up, so it's like a callus there, and I could it's probably thicker than steel.
Gross.
Like you could hit this with a
gosh.
sledgehammer, I want to feel it. Like it's
Gosh.
it's very thick.
It's like dating ballet dancers
Yeah.
back in the day. Always sounds awesome until you get a pedicure with them, and you're like, "Holy
Oh,
Christ, what
hammer
happened to your
toes."
feet? Oh my God!" Yeah, it's like a
Every time-
gnarled tree in Poltergeist.
Every time I'm on this show, there's a point where I have to remember where we came from and how we got to a point.
Stop trying to do that.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't do that.
Just
Stream
go
of
with the
consciousness.
flow.
I'm just like, how did we? What happened?
What? I came in here to talk about my show in
What-
Toledo.
what
We're talking about
happened?
hammer toes.
It's all part of it. Mike Paramore is doing his Single versus Married comedy show tomorrow night at the Funny Bone in Toledo. So if you are one of our Toledo listeners, you can get out there. It is a 7 o'clock show. It is one show only. Tomorrow night, you can go to MikeParamore.com. We got people all over the place listening to the show, too. And so if Mike is probably more than likely coming to your town.
Yes.
If you
please
look at
check
his
out my
events page,
website,
it
yes.
is packed
I
out.
have I've ran into people like in Florida, that have came to me. I heard you on Alan Cox.
Yeah.
People, where else was I? I think it was Oklahoma City. Somebody was like, I love when you give relationship advice on Alan Cox. I'm like, you listen to Alan?
On the app, baby, the iHeartRadio app. And YouTube. They're all over, and YouTube and everything. He's going to be in Naples, Florida. He's going to be in Chattanooga. He's going to Vegas in February. He's going to be in Lake Havasu is beautiful.
And speaking of Naples, don't forget to check out Mary's wardrobe malfunction at AlanCoxShow.com.
My shirt came unbuttoned. I was just sitting there for half the segment with my boobs out.
It was pretty good.
Like a jerk.
Talk about job security.
Yeah, right. So MikeParamore.com if you want to see everywhere he's going to be. It's always good to see him.
Also hit me up on Instagram at Mike Paramore Jr. I'm always
if you want to see the results of his mani-pedis.
I'm always stunned. This stuns me every time. Like I listen to the radio, I listen to you on the radio, and I listen to the noise that your voice produces, and then like looking at you do it, it freaks me out every time.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. I'm fighting something off, so I sound weird today, but I take your point. Is that okay? Is it a bad thing?
No, it's good. Okay. I just can't imagine. I like being around, like listen to the radio. I'm like, oh, that's Alan Cox.
It's different being in here and then listening.
Your mouth produced that sound.
What that mouth
Knowing that it.
It's like, oh, okay.
That's right. Okay, good. Good to see you, pal.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Mike Paramore, everybody. MikeParamore.com for all the info, and we will be back after these.
It's the Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app.